Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The air was thick with the acrid scent of burnt metal and despair, a fitting introduction to the alien world where the remnants of humanity were trapped. The twisted landscape, filled with jagged rock formations that pierced the scorched sky, felt like a constant reminder of their broken spirits. This was the planet Zitherus, a desolate place ruled by powerful overlords, the Craxus, who viewed humans not as beings, but as mere toys for their depraved entertainment. In the dim confines of the slave quarters, Amelia sat on the cold, metallic floor, her wrists chafed and raw from the unforgiving shackles. Her heart pounded in rhythm with the distant sounds of chaos, alien laughter mixed with the cries of other captives. Each night was a reminder of her captivity, of the freedom stolen under the cruel moonlight, where hope wavered like a flickering flame. Amelia had once been vibrant, full of dreams of a future filled with laughter and love. But here, she had become a ghost of her former self, trapped in a world where survival meant submission. The Craxus treated her like an object. Amusement danced in their eyes as they toyed with her broken spirit. She had learned to conceal her thoughts, the rebellion that simmered within, lest it draw unwanted attention. Her mind often wandered to the tales of the Human Liberation Front, a group of ferocious fighters who dared to rise against the Craxus. These whispers were like sweet nectar, moments of escapism amid her grim reality. But tonight, those thoughts were cut short by the heavy footsteps of her captors approaching, their guttural voices echoing through the narrow halls. "Bring her out," one of the Craxus snarled, his reptilian eyes glinting with malevolence. The guard seized her chains, dragging her from the shadows. Despite the humiliation that twisted in her gut, a quiet defiance burned within her. She would not let them strip away her identity. As they arrived at the arena, a stark contrast to her confines, the crowd, a sea of alien faces, howled in anticipation. The arena was a stage of cruelty, where the Craxus displayed their power, forcing captives to entertain or suffer. But tonight felt different. A heavy tension filled the air, as if something monumental was about to unfold. Across the arena, a figure emerged, dressed in the tattered remnants of what once was a human life. Oliver stood resolute, captured during one of his attempts to rescue his people. Those who recognized him whispered his name in respect, a symbol of hope and defiance. The flicker of familiarity in his steely gaze made Amelia's heart race. Had he heard about her? Did he know she was among the captives? Oliver's eyes scanned the throng of spectators, filled with both amusement and sadism, until they landed on Amelia. In that moment, time seemed to freeze. A powerful current surged between them, two souls battered yet unbroken. Despite the situation, she felt something awaken within her, a spark igniting against the shroud of despair. As the goading began, Amelia saw the danger lurking in the fray. A Craxus warrior stepped toward Oliver, taunting him. It was then that she realized the depths of her feelings. She wanted to fight, to rise and protect him, but all she could do was observe, damning herself with silence. The alien was a beast in his arrogance, but Oliver's fierce spirit flickered defiantly. "Touch him again, and I'll end you." Oliver's voice boomed through the arena, a clear challenge that reverberated in the chilling air. The crowd fell silent, astonished by his audacity. Amelia's breath caught in her throat. In that moment, he was not just a warrior. He was a beacon, a glimmer of hope in this dark, oppressive world. As the tensions escalated, a plan began to form in Amelia's mind. This human was unlike any she had met, a warrior against the merciless tide of subjugation. Maybe, just maybe, together they could reclaim what was lost. The arena pulsed with a fierce energy as Oliver's defiance resonated with the crowd. For a brief moment, the alien spectators were stunned into silence, their twisted amusement faltering. It was in that heartbeat of stillness that Amelia felt a surge of courage bubble within her. Oliver had not only challenged the Craxus, he had also given her a glimmer of hope, reminding her that defiance was possible. Suddenly, the stunned silence shattered like glass. The Craxus warrior, a towering figure with elongated limbs and razor-sharp teeth, let out a bellow of rage that reverberated off the stone walls of the arena. With an exaggerated motion, he lunged at Oliver, the dagger-like claws gleaming under the dim lights. The crowd roared, thirsting for violence, eager for bloodshed. Amelia's heart pounded as she watched the relentless clash unfold. Oliver was swift, dodging the alien's initial strike, his movements a dance of precision and determination. She held her breath as he countered, landing a solid blow to the creature's side. Adrenaline surged in her veins, kindling a fierce pride. He wasn't just standing there. He was fighting back. The skirmish continued, each pass revealing Oliver's skill and resolve. Yet, every successful strike was met with a retaliatory howl from the alien, a grotesque display of fury. As the battle intensified, Amelia felt helpless, the weight of her own restraints a bitter reminder of her powerlessness. Then, a flicker of movement from the shadows caught her eye. Another captive, Sarah, shackled beside Amelia, had found a small, sharp rock among the debris. "We need to help him," Sarah whispered urgently, her eyes wide with desperation. "What can we do?" "We're trapped," Amelia replied, her voice barely a murmur, frustration flooding her veins as she caught a glimpse of Oliver's fierce determination. Sarah shook her head, determination etched into her features. "If we can break free, we can fight. We have to." An internal struggle erupted within Amelia. Fear of further punishment, the deep-rooted conditioning of submission, waged war against the instinct to resist. But when she looked at Oliver, bloodied but unyielding, infusing the chaos with a semblance of hope, she felt the chains of her fear begin to crack. Swiftly, Sarah managed to break her own shackles, the worn metal clinking softly as they fell to the ground. She handed the sharp rock to Amelia, urging her to act, her voice fierce. "Do it." With trembling hands, Amelia pressed the rock against her wrist. The sharp edge bit into her skin, drawing blood. She winced, but this pain paled in comparison to the agony of her shackles, holding her captive in more ways than one. With a swift flick, she cut through the worn metal, and it snapped away. Adrenaline surged as she freed her other wrist, her heart racing with newfound determination. "What do we do now?" she asked, urgency catching in her throat. "Get to Oliver," Sarah shouted, scanning the arena for a path through the chaos. Together, they bolted toward the edge of the arena, where the shadows offered brief cover. Oliver grappled with the alien, both warriors grunting and snarling as they traded blows. Their eyes met for a fleeting moment, and Amelia saw the fire of determination in Oliver's gaze. "Amelia!" he shouted, his voice fierce. "Get out of here. I'll hold them off." "No!" she yelled back, her pulse echoing in her ears. "We're not leaving you." Just then, the Craxus warrior shoved Oliver back with a bone-jarring force, sending him crashing to the ground. The crowd erupted into a frenzy, eager for the final blow. "Now, Amelia!" Sarah cried, pointing toward a nearby guard distracted by the chaos. Amelia's heart raced, fear and necessity fueling her resolve. With newfound strength, they launched themselves at the guard, seizing his weapon, a crude, elongated blade glinting under the arena lights. In an impeccable sequence, they moved as one. Amelia aimed for the guard's arm while Sarah targeted his throat. Together, they immobilized him, the alien crumpling to the ground. "Get Oliver," Sarah commanded, urgency clear in her tone as she grabbed the weapon for herself. Amelia nodded and sprinted toward Oliver, feeling the weight of every heartbeat as she dashed. As she reached him, Oliver was rising to his feet, bloodied with a savage resilience. He noticed her, and a spark of gratitude ignited in his eyes, but then alarm seeped in. "We need to move now," he urged. But just as he spoke, the Craxus warrior staggered back, enraged and ready for vengeance. "I won't leave you behind," Amelia replied, grasping his arm tightly. "We can fight together." For a brief moment, the world slowed as they locked eyes, understanding deepening between them. The whisper of a shared destiny danced in the fleeting silence that enveloped them. They were battered but unbroken, united in a fight against their oppressors. "All right, together then," Oliver said decisively, the fire igniting once more in his spirit. "Let's show them what we're made of." The three of them, two humans once shackled, and one warrior born from resilience, turned to face the throng of alien spectators, the fight of their lives on the precipice of unfolding. Amelia's pulse thundered in her ears, a relentless tempo echoing the rising tide of adrenaline coursing through her veins. With Oliver and Sarah by her side, she felt an exhilarating combination of fear and empowerment. Together, they stood against the Craxus, ready to turn the arena of despair into a battleground of defiance. As the Craxus warrior advanced, eyes narrowed, teeth bared, Oliver positioned himself protectively in front of Amelia. "Stay behind me," he commanded, though the tension in his voice hinted that their chances were slim. But failure was not an option. The fire within her burned hotter, igniting an instinctual drive for survival. Amelia tightened her grip around the hilt of the crude weapon Sarah had taken from the guard, determination flooding her as she stepped beside Oliver. "I won't back down," she said, her voice firmer than she felt. The alien lunged at them with a primal roar, muscles rippling as it rushed forward. Oliver sidestepped the attack, landing a fierce kick that sent the alien staggering. But the Craxus was quick to recover, swiping back at Oliver with claws drawn, forcing him to duck and weave. Amelia felt every breath of anticipation, her instincts honed by desperation. She didn't hesitate. Drawing on the strength of her fear, she charged forward. In one swift motion, she aimed the weapon at the alien's exposed flank. With adrenaline pulsing, she thrust the blade deep into its side. The Craxus let out an agonized howl, the sound resonating through the arena like an explosion. It spun around, fury etched upon its features. Amelia barely managed to retreat as it lashed out, but satisfaction coursed through her, entwined with encouragement that perhaps they could fight back after all. "Keep moving," Oliver shouted, maintaining the momentum as he moved to distract the creature. He ducked beneath its outstretched arm, delivering a series of sharp blows, each fueled by defiance. Sarah joined the fray, her warrior instinct kicking in as she jumped onto the alien's back, grappling with its limbs. The three humans fought with sheer ferocity, refusing to back down in the face of overwhelming odds. But chaos reigned in the arena. The crowd, once growling with anticipation, was now erupting with fury and confusion. The Craxus entertainers had underestimated the humans' resolve, and that error sparked a collective panic. "More are coming," Sarah yelled, her voice laced with urgency as she spotted additional guards storming from the entrance of the arena, anger boiling in their vibrant eyes. "Then we need to end this now," Oliver barked, concern flashing across his features. He delivered one last blow to the warrior, sending it sprawling to the ground before swinging around to face the approaching guards. "Follow my lead," he commanded, and without hesitation, they shot through the arena toward the exit, adrenaline fueling each stride. The sounds of chaos faded into the background as they ran, their hearts synchronized with the rhythm of resistance. The threat of capture lingered heavily, like a shadow, as they tore through the alien stronghold. Amelia felt the pressure of time quickening around them, urgency wrapping around every heartbeat. Locked in a cycle of survival, they emerged into a dimly lit corridor, the flashing lights of the alien technology illuminating the way ahead. "Where do we go from here?" Sarah panted, glancing at Oliver, whose eyes darted around, searching for escape routes. "There should be a maintenance hatch nearby. If we can find it, we might be able to make our way to the lower levels out of sight," Oliver replied, his mind focused on the goal ahead. "Lead the way," Amelia encouraged, keeping her senses sharp as they navigated through the labyrinthine halls, their bodies vibrating with the thrill of freedom. Suddenly, Oliver skidded to a halt. "This way," he whispered urgently, leading them into a narrow alcove. The pounding of footsteps grew louder. They could hear the guards barking orders as they closed in on their trail. Amelia's breath quickened as they crouched in silence, adrenaline rippling through her. Her heart raced not just from fear, but from exhilaration, a fusion of desperation and empowerment revitalizing her spirit. "They can't see us." Sarah's voice was a whisper, though her anxiety flickered in her eyes. As they huddled, Amelia looked at Oliver, whose brow was furrowed, dark shadows underlining the grit in his expression. "What's the plan?" she asked, her voice steady as she fought the urge to tremble. "The maintenance gears should be just beyond this corridor," he replied, determination carving a path across his features. "We'll find a place to hide, and then figure out how to reach the surface." "Let's go then," Sarah said, her bravery infectious. The minutes felt like hours as they held their collective breath, awaiting the approaching guards. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of tense silence, the footsteps receded into the distance. They emerged from their cramped space, reverberating with a sense of purpose as they crept forward. The corridor was dim, flickering lights casting eerie shadows against the walls. Each footstep echoed with uncertainty, yet their resolve remained unshaken. And then they found it, the maintenance hatch, half hidden behind a contorted panel. Amelia's heart soared. It was a potential lifeline. Oliver pushed it open with urgency, revealing a dark tunnel that spiraled downward. "Ready?" he asked, his eyes scanning their surroundings for threats. Together, they nodded, and without another word, they descended into the shadows, their threatened lives carving a path toward liberation. The air grew cooler as they descended into the maintenance tunnel, enveloping them in darkness. The narrow space was tightly woven with cables and pipes, giving it a sense of confinement that mirrored their shared experience as captives. Each step echoed, amplifying the rising tension within their group. But that tension was underscored by a burgeoning sense of freedom, the promise of escape. Amelia led the trio, using the dim light from her jagged weapon to illuminate the path ahead. The tunnel twisted and turned like a labyrinth, but each step fortified her resolve. She glanced back at Oliver and Sarah, their expressions determined as they pressed forward. "Keep an eye out for any exits or maintenance access doors," Oliver instructed, his voice low but firm. He had taken on an unmistakable leadership stance, exuding a mixture of care, strength, and the instinct to protect. In the depths of that dark tunnel, Amelia felt a weight lifting. It was more than the physical constraints of their captivity. It was the remnants of despair slowly peeling away as they fought for their lives. The fear had transformed into a fierce determination, a collective desire to survive. After what felt like an eternity of crawling through the darkness, they stumbled upon an access door, its surface covered in grime and neglect. Amelia paused, her hand resting lightly on the latch, her heart racing with possibility. "Is this it?" she asked, hope lacing her voice. "It should lead us out toward the outskirts of the compound," Oliver replied, glancing around cautiously. "But we need to be careful. There could still be guards prowling nearby." With a swift nod, Amelia pulled the door open, revealing a small room filled with mechanical equipment and a faint, flickering light. They entered cautiously, eyes scanning for any signs of danger. "Wait here for a moment," Oliver said, stepping inside first, his senses heightened. He surveyed the layout and then beckoned them to follow. "Looks like a control panel. If I can access the system, we might be able to get a layout of the compound and find safe passage to the outer perimeter." While Oliver focused on the control panel, Amelia and Sarah kept watch, their hearts racing as the clamor of the outside world drifted in through the cracks in the door. "Did you ever think we would make it this far?" Sarah whispered, her voice laced with disbelief. "No, but I had to believe someone would fight back," Amelia replied, contemplating the surprising bond that had formed between them in their shared struggle. With a rush of adrenaline, each moment felt pivotal, not just for survival but for reclaiming their identities. Without warning, alarms blared, shrieking through the compound like a wounded beast. The sound jolted them from their thoughts, and Oliver's eyes widened. "I triggered the alarms. We have to move." Panic surged, but Amelia channeled it into action. "We need to find an exit now." With urgency, she turned back to the door. Oliver followed, his expression a cocktail of determination and urgency. As they cracked the door open, the intensity of the chaos surged outside. Guards hurried through the compound, barking frantic orders, their silhouettes casting menacing shadows against the flickering lights. "Here," Oliver grabbed Amelia's wrist, guiding her through an unexpected path that twisted between corridors. They sprinted through the chaos, the sounds of confusion and desperation echoing behind them. Just as they reached a junction, they stumbled upon a squad of alien guards. Their alarmed shrieks cut through the air as they spotted the trio. "Stop!" one of the guards bellowed, raising a weapon. "Run!" Oliver shouted, adrenaline surging as he pushed Amelia and Sarah forward. "I'll hold them." "No, we're not leaving you." Amelia protested, desperation clawing at her as she turned back to face the guards closing in. But Oliver was already moving, what remained of his warrior spirit igniting fiercely beneath the pressure. "You have to. Get to the exit. I'll catch up." Before she could react, he charged toward the guards, a wild look of determination in his eyes, the ferocity feeding off the danger. "I'll buy you time, now go." Amelia's heart sank, torn between fear and the instinct to stay and fight. "Oliver!" she cried, desperation spilling over. But Sarah gripped Amelia's arm forcefully. "We need to move. We'll find him later. He'll be okay." Driven by the urgency and Oliver's insistence, Amelia nodded reluctantly. With her heart racing, she and Sarah ran down the corridor, catching glimpses of Oliver battling against the guards. "Don't look back," Sarah urged, her voice steady despite the tumult around them. They darted through the compound, emotions intertwining as they encountered the remnants of human lives lost in the shadows. Each step felt heavy with the weight of their struggle. The ghosts of the past were tangible, pushing them toward the cause they fought for. Finally, they reached an emergency exit that opened to the outside under a dystopian sky. It dawned upon them, a sharp contrast to the chaos behind, offering a brand new battlefield, one filled with potential freedom. "Amelia, let's go," Sarah urged, glancing over her shoulder anxiously. They spilled out of the exit, breathless, hearts pounding in sync with newfound hope. Amelia hesitated but then squeezed her eyes shut, envisioning Oliver's spirit, his determination fueling her own. "We can't stop now," she said, feeling the power of rebellion coursing through her veins. With the taste of freedom on the horizon, they sprinted toward the edge of the compound, adrenaline coursing through their bodies. Shadows danced behind them, but the promise of liberation pulled them forward into the night that awaited them. As Amelia and Sarah dashed into the open night, the oppressive weight of captivity began to lift with each determined step. The air was cooler here, the starry expanse above a vast reminder of freedom just beyond their grasp. They found themselves amidst a jagged landscape, framed by rocky outcrops and sparse vegetation. But the thrill of escape was marred by the uncertainty of Oliver's fate. "Where do we go now?" Sarah panted, glancing nervously over her shoulder. "Anywhere but here," Amelia replied, heart racing with dread and resolve. "We need to find a way to regroup, to plan our next move." As they moved cautiously through the rocky terrain, direct adrenaline gave way to exhaustion. The physical and emotional toll weighed heavily on Amelia. The night crawled on, but the bond with Oliver lingered, an unquantifiable connection that had formed beneath the intense strain of their circumstances. "Amelia," Sarah said softly, breaking the silence between them. "What you and Oliver have, it's powerful. I saw the way you looked at each other back there." Amelia's cheeks flushed, the memory of the moments shared with Oliver flooding her mind. The intensity of their connection had surprised her, igniting a longing she hadn't allowed herself to acknowledge. I've never felt this way before," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper as they climbed over a rocky ridge. "The mating bond, it's more than just physical," Sarah continued, her tone thoughtful while scrutinizing the horizon. "In our circumstances, it's about survival and finding strength in one another. You know that, right?" Amelia nodded. "I was broken, trapped beneath the weight of despair, but he sees me, really sees me." The weight of her emotions flooded her senses, both empowering and terrifying. "His defiance inspires me, but I'm terrified of losing him." "Those feelings can motivate you, make you powerful in this fight," Sarah replied, uniquely understanding the intertwining of survival and connection. "Our bodies may be forced apart, but our hearts can find strength through intimacy. Even the thought of matehood can bolster us in bleak moments." Just as the words left Sarah's mouth, they heard an echoing sound in the distance, shouting chaos. It was a sickening reminder of their recent struggle. Fear gripped Amelia's heart as she scanned the dark landscape. "We can't go back. We have to find shelter." In her panic, it felt as if time twisted and warped. They sprinted toward a cluster of rocks where they could potentially hide, their senses heightening with each passing moment. Inside the cavern, they crouched among jagged crevices, drawing in shuddering breaths. I think we lost them, Sarah whispered, peering through the narrow opening. Her eyes conveyed the unshakable truth. They had survived the confrontation, yet faced uncertainty ahead. But an aching thought lingered in Amelia's mind. What would happen if they truly escaped? Would Oliver be on the other side, waiting for them? Would they ever share the intimacy that had flickered like a flame between them back in the arena? The idea sent tremors of yearning through her heart. Do you think Oliver? Amelia hesitated, the weight of her words tangible between them. Think he'll survive? Sarah asked, her expression softening. If anyone can, it's him. He fights for you. Find the courage, Amelia. Whatever happens, your bond may guide him home. As the night wore on, fatigue enveloped them like a fog. They shared stories and memories, talking quietly to stave off fear. Yet the thought of the attraction and connection to Oliver, built from shared struggle and trauma, began to take precedence in Amelia's thoughts. Eventually, exhaustion took over, and they huddled close in the shadows, an unseen bond of comfort forming between them. In the safety of their shared space, Amelia allowed herself to dwell on the essence of her feelings toward Oliver, the longing that had bloomed amid chaos, the depth of her desire intertwined with the notion of mating that seemed to beckon to her. As dawn approached, brushing the horizon with hues of orange and pink, sounds of distant commotion pierced the early morning air. The reality of their situation crashed down upon them once more. "We need to move," Amelia urged, heart heavy with anxiety, knowing her thoughts of Oliver could turn into something more, the possibility of a union forged through their shared suffering. "Where?" Sarah asked, uncertainty lacing the question. "North," Amelia replied with surprising conviction. "If we maneuver through the lesser routes, we might find remnants of the Human Liberation Front. They could guide us to safety and help us find Oliver." They crept from the recesses of the cave, adrenaline fueling their resolve to keep moving. Getting lost in thoughts of Oliver empowered Amelia. She felt that merging desire for both freedom and a connection, an innate drive to find him, weighing heavily on her heart. As they made their way northward, a pulse of energy surged through Amelia's veins. The idea of their potential union became more than a mere thought. It was a fire igniting with hope, survival, and that whispered promise of intimacy that would bind them closer amid the chaos of their reality. With every step, she knew they were not just running from the horrors of the past. They were racing toward a future of possibility, a shared life filled with the untapped power of love and defiance, intertwined with both personal and collective liberation. The sun's first light crested over the jagged horizon, bathing the alien landscape in a surreal luminescence. Amelia and Sarah trod forward, hearts fueled by undeniable determination and a hint of fear. The north awaited them, a future unknown yet bursting with potential. As they navigated through the rocky terrain, Amelia's mind was a swirl of thoughts, a blend of fear for Oliver's safety and an ember of hope flickering within her. Each step forward felt like a commitment to reclaiming their identities and lives. The thought of not just surviving, but truly living, flooded her spirit with strength. "Do you think he's all right?" Sarah asked quietly, breaking the silence as they walked side by side, both women vigilant and alert. "He will be," Amelia replied, trying to project confidence, though each moment without Oliver felt like a void. "He's resourceful. He believes in our fight, and he'll find a way back." Moments later, they spotted a flicker of movement, outlines slowly taking shape against the backdrop of dawn. It was a small group of figures advancing from the shadows, clad in the tattered remnants of gear that once marked them as warriors in rebellion, the unmistakable insignia of the Human Liberation Front. Amelia's heart raced as she recognized the silhouettes. Her pulse quickened with excitement, but dread lingered. What if they were too late? "Over there!" she exclaimed, pulling Sarah closer toward the approaching figures. As they drew near, the faces of the group became clearer, fellow humans who, like them, had endured the horrors of the Craxus. Relief washed over Amelia like a tidal wave when she spotted Oliver in their midst, his frame battered but unyielding. Their eyes met, and an electric connection surged through the air, igniting the embers of hope. "Amelia, Sarah," Oliver called, his voice a beacon as he rushed toward them, relief draping over him like a warm blanket. Tears blurred Amelia's vision as he enveloped them in a fierce embrace, warmth radiating from his body. "I thought I lost you," he murmured against her hair, and in that moment, the world around them faded, obstacles crumbling as they stood connected by something stronger than mere survival. "Not a chance," she whispered back, the intimacy of the moment swirling around them. A blend of fear, relief, and unspoken promises hung heavily in the air. "We're stronger together." Sarah stepped back, allowing them their moment of reunion, yet her presence lingered, a reminder that they had fought side by side, bound by the hardships they had endured. "Oliver," Amelia began, her voice finding a soft lilt beneath the intensity of their connection, "we need to unite with the others, to reclaim our lives and fight back against the Craxus. Together, we can lead this rebellion." Oliver's gaze ignited with fierce determination as he stepped back, taking in the strength radiating from both women. "You're right. This is only the beginning. If we band together, the Craxus will not stand a chance against us." Amelia shared a meaningful glance with Sarah, an understanding passing between them. The connection had shifted. Now they visualized the power of community, not just survival. Their unexpected bond, layered with the potential for intimacy, stood unwavering against the backdrop of their shared vision for liberation. With newfound purpose, the group fell into motion, formulating plans as they moved forward together. Their unity stretched beyond simple allegiance. It wove a fabric of resilience and love, triumphing over the fear that had once tried to define them. As the sun rose higher, they reached the heart of the remnants of the Human Liberation Front. The gathering of fellow fighters ignited a wellspring of hope. They shared intelligence and strategized to reclaim their home. Yet amid the planning, Amelia felt the electric tension with Oliver grow. It was unspoken yet palpable, a tether binding them together in a larger fight for their freedom and each other. The thought of their future ignited her spirit, intertwining with the promise of intimacy born from hardship and mutual recognition. In the days that followed, they organized strikes against Craxus outposts, reclaiming spaces once haunted by their captors. Each victory further solidified their bonds, and beneath the canvas of conflict, Amelia and Oliver found moments to draw closer. Late-night strategies gave way to shared dreams, and with each brush of their hands or stolen glance, a deeper connection blossomed, one echoing with shared heartbeats, a promise of union strengthened by fire. As they found their footing within the Liberation Front, Amelia realized that while they fought for freedom, they also fought for one another, a chance to love amidst the chaos, to meld their spirits into something greater. Finally, after a significant victory against the Craxus, Oliver took Amelia to a secluded spot under the stars, the weight of unspoken feelings heavy between them. "You fought beside me through everything," he said, vulnerability illuminating his gaze. "I don't know what lies ahead, but I do know I want to face it with you." Amelia's heart surged, embers igniting into flames beneath the night sky. "I want that too, Oliver. We've conquered so much already. What's left is a future we can shape together, a promise of our own." In that moment, under the vastness of the cosmos, they sealed their bond, not just through the struggles they had faced, but through the unwavering love that had been forged amidst chaos. The path ahead was uncertain, but now it was theirs to navigate together, a tapestry woven with the threads of hope, intimacy, and unbreakable resilience. And as the dawn broke across the distant horizon, it painted the world with shades of possibility. Together, they would rise, united in the fight and the power of the bond they had forged, ready to claim the freedom they severely desired, both from the chains of the past and the ultimate realization of their connection.